No, I like some of the reels you send me. They're not quite as like out of pocket as the one my cousin sends me, though. They're extremely. Those are like.
The algorithm knows. Some people just get an algorithm that's like I have a buddy named Justin, and he's like 10 years older than us, but he sends me memes that get like 4 likes. And most of them are not really like that funny. They're just really messed up.
Those are the good ones.
Like he'll send me one. I'm like, what? I don't know. I like a good 2 to 3 second long meme that says something super insensitive that makes me go, that's what I want.
What, like this one you sent me?
Worst moments in man history. 1920. Men give women the right to vote.
Dude, when I send you those two, I'm like, please be in a room by yourself when you open that.
Oh, dude, it's gold. It's so good.
The best memes are no longer than 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
5 seconds is like the cap.
No, it can't be any longer.
Dude,
and
if someone sends me a reel that's like 2 minutes long, I'm not watching it, bro. I'm not. When you look at the bottom and you see like you're already 20 seconds in and it's moved like a centimeter, I'm like, I'm not watching it. I need 5 seconds of, I'm good.
I need to laugh and get that dopamine hit immediately.
Yes.
It has to be instant. I need to laugh and feel something.
Then you scroll for another 45 minutes and cry yourself to sleep because you're so depressed.
That ring on the bottom of your legs from the toilet seat turns a dark purple.
Dude, you ever get the red marks from your arms on your thighs from sitting like this for too long? I'll be scrolling, dude, especially when I'm at work. When I'm at work and I'm in the big stall, dude, because you got to go big stall.
Big stall.
You can't go small stall.
Big stall.
Because then people who come in can see your feet. You know, the big stall's in the corner, it's secluded. You can hang up your jacket in there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I get up. It's got those red marks on my thighs from doing this. Oh man.
You ever?
And that's real.
That is real. That's about as real as it gets. I use a customer bathroom at our work because it's nice and has better internet connection.
That's fair. That's fair. Better internet connection.
That's why I check all the racist memes.
My memes load faster at the customer
my racist memes. I can send racist memes to my friends faster. Now, you ever... It's a great way to start part 2. It's just potty talk. You ever had like... You're sitting there, right?
Yeah.
Doing your business.
No, I stand and poo.
Oh, that's impressive.
I actually face towards the wall.
Oh, yeah. Me, actually, I kind of like to do a handstand.
Yeah, I sit backwards.
Straddle it.
Yeah.
But you can, like...
I actually hang from the ceiling so it makes a splash.
You yell, look out below every time one comes out.
Go, Timber!
Jumbo! No, Geronimo! Dude, no, like, you're sitting there.
Yeah.
And then it gets heavy. And, you know, your whole body gets cold. And it turns into one of those moments. Are you the like, all right, I gotta set my phone down for a second and focus on this?
I gotta concentrate.
Or are you no, I'm gonna fight through I'm gonna hold the phone and I'm gonna use it as a distraction. Sort of mind over matter this.
I'm a hybrid.
So
I'll still hold my phone, but I won't be scrolling.
Oh, so instead it's something to hold and grip.
Instead of like set the phone down, grab the sides, or like grab the walls and brace myself, I just like, all right, okay, back to it. Yeah.
I started doing breathing exercises like a woman having contractions.
You ever be sitting there and like you've pooped. It's been like 25 minutes,
right?
And you're just scrolling. And you've been telling yourself after every meme you see, I should probably finish this process. But you don't.
One more
You just
funny
keep
one.
Scrolling.
One more funny one. I have to get one more really funny one, and then I'll get up.
Yeah. Just like, one more.
It doesn't go well.
That's me every day before work.
It's me every day at work. Oh, I hope my boss never hears this. Welcome to part 2 of the Donner Party. We're just going to start this one off with about 5 minutes of talking about doing the business, pooping on the toilet, talking about the toilet and phones and Instagram and racist memes. But this is part 2 of the Donner Party. I think we're going to try to wrap it up in 2 parts. But this is where it gets good, Alex.
I'm excited.
We've kind of foreshadowed it a bit in part 1. About 5 minutes ago for us, about a week ago for the good listeners.
See, it was like watching the first Dune.
Yeah.
That was like the first episode.
Exactly.
Because it was like...
This podcast is on the same level as Dune.
Yeah. It's actually better.
Really, honestly,
Yeah.
if you think about it, in every conceivable way, it is better than Dune.
Every way. I can't think of one way that a multi-billion-dollar cinema franchise.
Budget, irrelevant. The acting, well, first of all, this is a history podcast. We're real here. This is not acting. This is truly coming from the heart and soul and the human experience.
That's just one reason
The
why
lighting,
we're better than Dune.
Exactly. The lighting doesn't matter whatsoever.
No.
The camera is not working. So that's obsolete. Sound.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sweating like a Democrat in church right now, but
It is so hot. In
still
this
better
room.
than Dune. It's better.
It's
than
like
being-
we're there. We should be wearing still suits to keep our moisture.
What's the dang planet called?
Arrakis.
Arrakis. It's like it's so hot in here. It's like
We're on Arrakis. We gotta save your water. You gotta wear a still suit and drink your reprocessed water through your nose or whatever it is.
When I sold solar, I'd go into people's houses where like this was how they kept the whole house.
That's
And they're just sitting there in like a long sleeve blanket on the lap, especially like older people. I don't know why. Maybe just as you get older, you just get colder or something.
your heart's failing.
Yeah, you're just dying. Just keeping it 82
Your blood's
in the
just
house.
not pumping like it should anymore. So, yeah, long story short, we're better than Dune.
Way better.
Way better.
Way better.
Okay. Last episode, if you didn't listen to it,
Sorry.
oh my gosh.
Next up on the burping episode.
Yeah, I think we might have some more goblin ASMR on this one. You should see. Part 1, you know, if you haven't listened to it, you should. It isn't going to make a lot of sense without it, but, you know, whatever you can. We left the Donner Party at Salt Lake, and we're picking back up there. The group, and they split up, but the group as a whole was pretty strung out geographically, physically, and mentally at this point. Even the animals were having a really hard time, and everyone was walking to make it easier on them. Louis Kessberg even kicked Hardcoop out of his wagon, telling him that he had to walk or die. Hardcoop walked until his feet were so swollen.
It's quite the ultimatum.
Well, all right, I guess that's my only choice. This 70-year-old man.
Dude, that's cruel.
Okay, well, I guess
It's like I'm walking.
I'm walking here. Hardcoop walked until his feet were so swollen that they cracked open. He sat down next to a creek as the wagon train passed him by, no one willing to put him on a wagon or use any more supplies to help him. He was never seen again. Bye-bye, Hardcoop. Another one bites the dust. It's the 4th casualty. 4th death. So far, it's all been... Well, no, it's been like 2 or like 3 old people just dying from disease, and
except for the guy that got stabbed.
And then 1 young guy that got stabbed. Yeah. Not much you can do about that, though.
No.
Yeah. At this point, Reed and the rest of the party that had banished him caught up with the Donners, who were in the group ahead. The pioneers were also having more and more trouble from Native Americans attacking their train, running, either hustling or shooting their cattle and horses, which were spreading out more and more to find grass, which was becoming more and more sparse. This got bad enough that a man named Wolfinger stopped to cache his wagon. 2 others named Reinhardt and Spitzer stayed to help him. When they returned, Wolfinger was gone, and they claimed to have been attacked by another group of Paiutes, and he was killed. By the time they finally reached the Sierra Nevada Pass, another family, the Eddies, had lost all of their cattle and used their entire store of food. No one would give them food for their children, and they had to carry them on foot. Thankfully, though, one of the men who had rode ahead to Fort Sutter for supplies, Mr. Stanton, had returned with mules and supplies. He was also accompanied by 2 Native American guides with Catholic names, Louis and Salvador. Now, they had to decide if they waited and rested before moving on or not. They believed that the pass would be snowed in until November, so family by family moved into the pass. First the Breeds, then the Kesselbergs, the Stantons and Reeds, the Graves, Murphys, and the Donners last. Unfortunately, an axle on the Donners' wagon broke, so George and Jacob went to build a new one. While they were splitting wood, George sliced his hand and figured it to just be a light injury, though. But they were able to fashion a new axle and mount on their wagon and get back on their way. On November 4th, most of the group was camped near Truckee Lake by a cabin, built a couple years prior by the Murphy Party, another much more successful pioneer group. That evening, it began to snow heavy, and the Donners were still 5 miles behind. The groups by the lake made use of 3 dilapidated cabins as winter shelter, the Breens in one, Eddies and Murphys in another, and Reeds and Graves in another. The Kesselbergs, instead of sharing with the Breens, constructed a lean-to against the Breens' cabin. Meanwhile, 5 miles behind the Donners, threw together some tents for a winter camp next to Alder Creek when an 8-day winter storm followed, battering everybody, burying them.
Question, where are they geographically right now?
Geographically, they are in the Sierra Nevada mountains in Nevada, like right in between Nevada and California.
Got it.
Way up high.
Very cold.
Very cold. Yeah. Kind of getting buried in snow by Truckee Lake. I'm not sure if it's still called Truckee Lake today. It might be called Donner Lake, actually, or something like that.
I've been
But you can look it up.
Truckee a few times. It's one of the coldest places in the country.
That's insane.
And it's in California.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a cold area.
Wild.
Yeah, it's very cold.
And it's winter, and they're all buried in snow. An 8-day winter snowstorm.
Dude, I went on a trip to California with my family to see my my grandma and grandpa when I was like probably 15. And we went through Truckee. It was probably like March, and the roads were like almost closed. Like the freeway was almost closed. It was bad. We had to go like 30 miles an hour because the roads were nasty in March.
Dang.
So this is a California. Cold, for context, this is very cold. This is not what you think of when you think of California. If you've been to California, you're from there, you know that, the east side of the state gets very cold by Lake Tahoe and that mountain range. But a lot of people, who haven't been there or looked at a map, know that area is very cold.
Yeah, so you have experience with this. So basically, you're a pioneer.
I'm a pioneer.
Yeah, you're a pioneer. You're better than these people, actually. You didn't get stuck.
Yeah. I mean, I had a car. It's 200 years of technological advancements to
in
my
roads.
advantage. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they would have appreciated that.
Only if they had a 2002 Toyota Sequoia, could have made it through. Just flickering 4-wheel drive.
They only had a gray 1999 Toyota Corolla.
Instead, they had a 32-wheel drive Winnebago.
An 8 oxen power Winnebago, and 4 of their oxen ran away. And 2 got shot by Paiutes. I have no idea if I've been pronouncing that right or not this entire time, but I'm just assuming that I am. So now they were snowed in. They were stuck for the winter. There was no getting in or out, not their wagons at least. So they took stock. They did not have supplies to make it through the winter. The total number consisted of 25 men, 15 women, and 41 children. It's a lot of kids.
That is
So many kids.
Oh no, dude. This is going to get so bad, isn't it? It's about to turn into an episode of Black Mirror. It's going to be so bad. 40 kids.
It's going to be like...
Goodness.
Yeah. Pretty quickly, they ran out of food. They could not catch trout in the lake, and their oxen were freezing to death.
Good
Not to
times.
mention getting buried in snow.
Good times.
However, their starvation was temporarily satiated by Mr. Eddie, who had managed to kill an entire bear. But even a bear could only keep the amount of pioneers fed for so long. Desperation started to take hold. They figured their best bet was to try to make it through in small groups. None to any avail. Down on the California side of the mountains, James Reed, who had managed to make it through the pass ahead of everybody because he was alone, remember, and on horseback. Didn't have to worry about pulling a wagon or anything. James Reed, McCutcheon, just James Reed and McCutcheon tried to make it back to their group in the mountains to give them aid, but were washed down by freezing rain and snow. They tried to return to Fort Sutter to get more help, but now the American-Mexican War had started, and the commander at Sutter couldn't spare any troops to help. Back at the camps, pioneers had resorted to eating what few starving oxen they had left, but they had very little meat left on them and didn't last long. Now they were really starving. Yeah. Some of the men attempted to hunt again, to no success. They began getting resourceful. Boiling old hides, twigs, and bones, they were able to abstain hunger a little. They even started boiling old leather into a glue-like substance and cooked a bone, just eating glue basically, and cooked bones into brittle to eat. Dude, it's chugging glue.
Brittle.
Little bone brittle and chugging
Scrumptious.
glue. I remember my days of chugging glue. I love it. Gosh. No, I'm kidding. I sniffed it.
Were you a paint chips kid?
I was a candle wax kid.
You ever seen Everybody Hates Chris?
Yes, I loved that show, dude.
That scene where the kid's eating paint chips in the classroom. Everyone's making fun of him.
They're good.
Lots of protein if you didn't know. Yeah.
Really?
No.
Oh.
No, dude.
I got
Paint
excited
chips?
there.
Chemicals.
I'm gonna start
Dad.
drinking paint. Some lead-based paint. I'm getting swole.
Is that milk? No, hear me out.
What does lead do to you? Make you crazy? Lead poisoning. What's lead poisoning do?
Probably. I mean, it's bullets.
Yeah. It just kills you, basically.
Yeah, it's probably not good.
I'm going to try it. Desperation. Oh, yeah, now they were really starving. So I love how often I lose my place.
Yeah.
I listen back to this and that. There's so many times where I go, oh, yeah, here we go. Oh, wait, I already read that.
Yeah. I mean, it's natural flow of conversation.
True.
There's like a line, and sometimes you go up, down, and back around. But you always find your way back to the line.
Last episode was a weird loop-de-loop, twisty-goo, crazy thing.
Yeah. Last episode was like, here's the line. We went up here and over here and over here and over here. And then 30 minutes of talking about Halo came back down to the line.
Yo, twisty. Just like the precursor star roads from Halo, which were actually... they were the dominant species in the Milky Way galaxy before even the Forerunners were. Now, the Forerunners were the ancient aliens that the Covenant worshipped, and they started their holy war to wipe out humans. Well, the Forerunners learned from the Precursors, and the Precursors built these big, spindly, long things that stretch from planets to stars called star roads. And they could, I don't really know what they did, but in one of the books, one of the Forerunner books, the star roads can join into a big ball of giant space spaghetti, basically, and crush a bunch of ships.
It's weird that the precursors of the flood.
Oh, yeah, and the precursors were like bug people.
Yeah.
And now the flood was actually...
Well, because to my knowledge, didn't the precursors were like godlike beings in the Halo universe?
Extremely advanced, yes.
And then... the Forerunners turned against them. So to combat that, they turned themselves into something to basically like, not like freeze themselves, just metaphorically like freeze themselves through time.
Right, well, okay.
And then turned into the flood.
Yes and no. So the precursors were... Now, okay, Forerunners are a galactic... species, like a galactic dominant species. The precursors were intergalactic, so they were all over the place in different galaxies. So they left the Milky Way, and then as sort of like a final screw you, sent back the flood in the form of powder to ancient humans who used it to grow little antennas on their dogs and make their fur softer. And then that turned into the flood. We should probably not go on another really long Halo tangent.
We'll have to do a whole episode on that.
We have to, just as a joke or something, because it's fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, really starving, drinking glue, eating bone brittle. In the Murphy cabin, the Murphy's children picked apart an old oxhide rug in front of the fireplace and ate it.
Desperation.
Little rugrats. Just no respect for their belongings, just tearing the house apart. That's a nice oxhide rug too. Occasionally one of them would manage to catch a mouse, which was considered a feast. On December 15th, Bayless Williams was the first member to die of starvation. This scared the rest of the group into action, and a plan formed. 5 men, 9 women, and one of the older children, the healthiest and able of the group, constructed snowshoes and were adamant to make it on foot to Fort Sutton to send rescuers. Fort Sutton was 100 miles away.
Oh, gosh. They're not going to get there, dude. There's no way they can get there.
What makes you say
on
that?
Foot?
In snow.
On foot.
They were later called the Forlorn Hope Party.
Dude.
They kind of hit the nail on the head.
Every day at work, we do a would you rather, and somebody's like, would you rather, I don't remember the first thing, or walk to work? And my work's like 12 miles. And it would take me 6.5 hours to walk 12 miles.
How slow are you walking?
That's just what Apple Maps says when you look up how far.
How slow is Apple Map walking?
I don't know.
I feel like, I mean, still, it's going to take you a long time.
Because the thing is, it's not a straight line, and there's lots of terrain, and you have to go on walkways. It's not just like straight. But 100 miles? Walk? No.
Through snowy mountains.
Dude. Yeah, they're going to die.
This is the part where they do. After a short time, 2 had to turn back from exhaustion while the others continued. Shortly after that, an elderly man, stopped and sat down at a log, telling the others to continue and he would catch up. He lit up a pipe as they walked away and was never seen again. He's just like, yep. Go on. Go on without me.
Died.
I'm going to just smoke it up one more time. And
At least he had a pipe, man.
yeah. It's pretty hardcore, actually. It's pretty metal.
That's a movie scene.
There's a movie about this. I haven't seen it, but
Really?
I want to watch it now.
Ooh.
And I hope that's in the movie because that'd be a cool scene.
It's got to be.
It's
very
too
theatrical.
cool. It's very theatrical.
Dramatic situation, yeah.
Extremely. It's like he was like, oh yeah, they're going to write about this someday.
I'm going to put this on the screen. I'm going to be a star.
I don't even know what a screen is. I don't think those are invented yet, but they're going to do it. I'm going to be on there.
Like they're going to write books about me.
So many books. So many books. After 6 days of grueling on-foot travel, they ran out of food. You know, all their glue and bone brittle. For 3 more grueling days, they trudged through the snow, starving even more than before. They considered the possibility of eating someone, if need be, and drew straws to see who it would be, but then decided they couldn't do it. Most of the party was snowblind, meaning they had burned retinas causing pain and blurred vision, and obviously were freezing. Pretty soon, some of them started to drop dead. The surviving snowshoers were beyond hunger crazed, and when they realized the task of killing somebody was taken care of for them, pounced on the dead bodies and ate until they were full. They ate Mr. Patrick, who was the first to die, and when done with him, they moved on to 12-year-old Lemuel Murphy, all the while refusing to look each other in the eye. Is fair enough. That makes sense. I don't know if, it's not an eye contact moment.
No. It's interesting because there's been so much chaos thus far, but humans adapt and manage. And I feel like the moment where, at least in my eyes from what you said so far, where I would have probably lost my mind is when the first guy starved. That's where I probably would have been like, okay, this is getting real. This is really bad.
I would have gone back and drowned myself in the lake. Nope, I'm out. I'm cool.
It's like, obviously some of the older people died. A guy got stabbed. Some oxen ran away.
Same old, you know.
Yeah, every day.
Some dude. Oh, actually, no. We forgot about the guy who got shot by some Paiute.
That's right.
Indians,
That's
too,
right.
That guy.
Yep. But just the moment of starvation, I feel like that's where it's... Okay.
Supposedly.
Right. Allegedly.
Pretty sure one of the guys who went with him actually killed him and he confessed before dying, but I didn't put that in my notes.
Interesting.
But I'm pretty sure, yeah. One of the guys who went with him on his deathbed at the camp at Truckee Lake before he died said, oh yeah, I killed that guy, by the way.
Like, hey man, I'm going to eat you just so you know.
Cool. Yep. I would do the same. They, once again, have to move and are out of food. You know, all that good. Slice.
Good times.
12-year-old.
Yeah.
When they begin planning to eat Louis and Salvador, the 2 native guides, but someone warned them and they escaped. Until a few days later, they were both found dying in the snow and were shot. The survivors sliced them and packed their meat to continue walking. Eventually, they came to a Native American village who fed them and nursed them back to health, then helped them reach Sutter's Fort, along with some ranchers. Of the 15 original snowshoers, only 9 made it to Sutter Fort, 2 men and 7 women. There they found James Reed, who had made it through the pass in time and was trying to get help for the others still trapped near Truckee Lake. It took 2 weeks, before anyone was willing or able to attempt to rescue anyone. When the first rescue team arrived to the cabins on February 18th, they called out for any survivors. One of them described seeing the gaunt survivors coming out of the cabins as a grisly sight. Mrs. Murphy, who was the first to appear, asked the men, "Are you men from California or are you from heaven?" Very stuck.
That's hard.
Going a little crazy. They set about giving the survivors food, making sure to do so in small portions so they wouldn't eat themselves to death. 13 people had died at both the cabins and the Alder Creek camp, and the bodies were buried in the snow. So far, they hadn't resorted to eating each other yet. On the return journey, 23 went, mostly women and children, leaving 21 at the two camps. Tamzine Donner refused to leave because her husband George, who'd cut himself trying to make a new wagon axle, now had gangrene in his arm and couldn't move. Yeah, so, this, like we mentioned last episode, and you can get a little cut in this time.
Yeah.
1800s cut, yeah.
No
death.
cure. Yeah.
A horrific infection.
Oh, dude.
Fevers.
Time before Advil, too? Like, you get a headache, you get gangrene and can't move. You can't,
just drink. You just drink.
Just get blasted.
Hope for the best. Really thin out your blood.
Yeah.
Civil War soldiers on a surgeon table after getting their leg blown off. Give him more whiskey. I'm gonna have to amputate what's left.
Dude, these are just the types of stories that are so surreal when you try to even fathom what it was like to be in that situation. Is your brain can't,
Yeah, I know. Here's something to add on top of that. On their way back down the mountain, John Denton and now 3-year-old Ada Kesselberg died. It's a nice one.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
a good knuckle crack.
Yeah.
Holy cow, dude.
Yeah. I'm probably going to get arthritis in
You
5
probably
years.
already have it from those spots.
Yeah, dude. I've been doing that since I was a kid.
That's
It's
insane.
like a daily... It's that...
How are you still getting pops?
Wait.
My wife,
I'm out of pops now.
she pops her wrists a lot, and it's like a thick, deep type of pop. Sounds like it's coming out of socket, and she does it all the time, and I hate it. It makes me cringe, and it makes my spine crawl, and it's an awful, awful sound and an awful thing to watch, but she does it all the time.
Oh, I can't do it anymore. I used to be able to do it with my elbow. If I flexed my wrist, my tricep, I can't do it.
I mean, oh yeah, there we go. That was a good one. That was a decent
Nice
one.
and crispy.
Yeah. I hear a lot of people hate listening to that. So
Yeah, me too.
we're
I
going
don't
to
know
just
why.
do it. Oop, right into the... Oh, I don't have any more, but right into the mics. Some good knuckle cracking ASMR.
I'm all tapped out.
Finally. You've been doing it for a while.
Give me 5 minutes. Because
Those juices are going to be built back up. Yeah, I mean, I pop and crackle a lot, but unintentionally. My knees. A lot.
Knees, ankles, hips.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sort of stuff. Sometimes my shoulders, I can kind of get my... Yeah, I mean, I can feel it. I just can't really hear it. Right in my back, right between my shoulder blades. If I really, move them right.
It's a nice snap, crackly pop.
A good, little painful... That was a weird sound. Yeah, a 3-year-old kid died. To make things even worse, they found that a cache of food the rescuers had left behind was broken into by animals, meaning they had no food for 4 more days down the pass. The survivors were once again starving, and more of the children looked like they wouldn't make it, but ended up devouring the buckskin coat and shoelaces of one of the rescuers. Little rascals. I imagine this. I have such a cartoon vision of this, a bunch of little kids crawling over this dude's wearing a buckskin coat, just It's like a cartoon thing. Like there's just a cloud of dust, and you see like a bunch of swirling kids, and they come off him, and he's just standing there in his underwear, and his shoelaces are gone.
See, it's probably different for you than it is for me. When I listen to you like narrate the story, my brain plays a movie.
Right. So yours is awful. Mine is funny. And I'm trying to focus on not stuttering.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's probably so different for the both of us. Because mine is like a horror movie right now.
Perfect.
Just imagining, like my brain's playing what I would imagine the movie version of this would look like.
Yeah.
You know, and like trying to put myself through the emotions that people went through. And then yours is just like, I imagine a cartoon.
Bunch of little piranha children. Is that Reddit would die on that buckskin?
Tasty bone brittle.
Bone brittle in glue. Oh, no, we're not going to do a retard voice.
Dude.
We're not going to do that voice.
I'm making him at night. Dad, I'm making good cheese at night.
I know he's making them at night. No, Dad, I'm not making them at night. I'm making them at night. Oh, dude. My dad, before I even saw that special, my dad sent me like a selfie of him making waffles, like super late at night. And it just said, I make them at night. And I was like, is my old man already going senile? What is going on here? I don't know what this means. I just text him like, haha, yeah, I don't know what that is. And I finally watched the special like a month later, and I remember, oh, he's not going senile. Okay, that's a relief. And I told him, and he thought it was funny that I had no idea what he was talking about.
Yeah.
I just thought my dad was already going crazy.
How like tech savvy are your parents?
Like pretty tech savvy.
Okay.
Like my dad he's got like a desk job, uses a lot of Microsoft.
That makes sense.
Office stuff. So he's good with all that. My mom does a lot of computer stuff for work.
Okay.
Works in like medicine and stuff.
It's like when you look over at one of your parents and they're using their phone.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Okay. It's like every
Probably
time.
better than I do. A lot in some things.
That's so strange. Every time I'm around my dad and he's using his phone, I'm like, oh gosh.
How's he? Is he like really good, or is he the guy who's got
freaking boomer, dude?
He's holding it like 3 feet away.
Yeah, he's got to put his reading glasses on.
One finger.
And he's like this, like looking at the phone. He's like one eye texting, like
just the slowest guy ever.
Like, why can't I do this? I'm like, Dad, you have to close the app. If I want to send, you gotta press the button.
Press the arrow.
He's better now. You know, but growing up, it was so new with like smartphones and computers,
right?
That for him, he had no idea. Now he's a lot better, but like he's just a boomer, dude. He's a boomer. He's Gen X, but he's kind of a boomer.
The boomer mentality.
He'll just like send me a picture at a restaurant and be like, "Good beer." Just a picture of
my
beer.
grandpa is. Yeah. It's the strangest thing ever. It's like communicating with aliens. Like the Covenant.
It's like I'm talking to a brute.
A Jurel Hanai, as they're called. I'm just steadily showing you how much of a loser I was in high school.
Dude, you know a lot about Halo. I thought I knew a lot. Some of the stuff you're saying, I'm like, what is he talking about? Because I only have like the games and then the show, and then I watched a lot of like 1 to 2 hour long YouTube videos just on like the timeline and different species and, you know, communities and kind of like the history of the whole universe. But I feel like a special person when I hear you talk about it. I'm like, what is he talking about?
No, I'm the special person for knowing this much.
I'm making him a nut.
About a fictional universe.
It's so cool.
It is.
It's so cool.
It's fun. It's a very fun sci-fi.
Yeah.
Because it's different than everything else.
There's nothing else like it.
No.
It's like just, yeah, it's differentiated from like Star Wars and Marvel, and because it doesn't tie in as much to like the regular universe. Like you watch a Marvel movie, it's still like big cities and cars and people working and like people, normal people. Then you watch Halo and it's like, no. You play the game, it's like, no, it's a totally different thing.
It's like 500 years into the future.
Yeah, 2552.
2552. Year of our Lord.
I need a weapon.
30th year in the Human Covenant War.
Yep.
Covenant are winning.
Just after Reach was sieged and all of Noble Team died.
So sad. Yeah. Well, no. Noble 6 is hiding in a cave. No, actually, I don't know. That's just like a nerdy conspiracy theory about a fake thing that losers like to argue about.
Hitler's in South America.
He is, though.
Yeah.
Actually, his body's dead, but his head is plugged into a computer.
Mm-hmm.
And frozen.
Have you seen Doom Patrol? DC show?
No.
Okay. He's like Cliff. Cliff's a guy that almost died in a car accident, and they put his brain in a robot. So he's still a person, but all he has is a brain. Just a brain and a
Is this an old thing, or is it?
No.
Huh.
Yeah. The final season ended like a year ago.
Oh.
Really good so far. I'm like halfway through the first season. I just started watching it.
Oh, cool.
Really good. Has like 98% rating.
Oh, dang.
Tomatoes. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because it's not like the traditional like Batman, Superman side of DC or like Flash. It's totally separate. Very cynical. Very cynical. It's kind of gross, to be honest. But
yeah, good. I've never been a big DC guy.
Have you seen The Flash?
No.
Gotta watch The Flash.
The only DC thing I've like watched all the way through are the DC Legends.
Okay.
Like the time traveling one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. I like the animated ones as well. Where they do like the crossovers between like everyone in Justice League and...
No, like Batman and Scooby-Doo?
No.
But no. Yeah, like Batman and Scooby-Doo. Because that's awesome.
That would be...
No, because it's real and it's awesome. Raggy.
Raggy.
It's Robin Raggy.
Where are my vesticles?
Like Zoink Scoob. Like Scoob. It's Batman Scoob. Like Zoink Scoob. We had to get him snipped, man, because you kept humping the neighbor's dog, dude. You can't do that, Scoob. Raggy, I want to.
Raggy, I want my vesticles.
Scooby, like, really heavy breathing.
What was that?
Raggy. Where are my vesticles?
I'm going to formally apologize for the last 2 minutes of this conversation.
She was in heat, Raggy. She running it, Raggy. If anybody has listened to this while driving, they have just veered off into incoming traffic. wrapped themselves around a telephone pole.
Caused a traffic jam.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
One of those ones where you're stuck in it and you're hoping somebody died.
It's one of those moments where I feel like I just did like a core workout from laughing so hard.
Good stuff. Good stuff. You come here for quality and we give you Raggy's vesticles.
Dude, all of the air just left your body. It's like a squeal.
Oh, dude, I'm sweating, and not just because it's 1,000 degrees in here.
Told you, man, sweating like a Democrat in church.
Democrat in a Baptist church. Okay, here we go.
How do we recover from this?
Get back. We need a breather. They ended up running into the second rescue party led by James Reed, resupplied, and made it the rest of the way. Once in Sutter's Fort, however, William Hook, one of the Donner's stepsons, fatally gorged himself to death on food. That's nice. The second rescue party arrived to the camps by March 1st. So by now, the people up on the mountains have been stuck for months.
Dang.
Things in the camps had taken a turn for the worse.
It gets worse?
Ruh-roh.
I didn't think it could get worse.
They're eating people, right? Like Zoe Scoob. Let's get out of here, man. They're making children's sandwiches, dude.
You're eating your kids. They tried to eat my testicles.
They eat my testicles, right? 2 of the cabins were now occupied. And one was the Breen family, who seemed mostly all right and hopeful of the returning rescuers.
Mostly all right.
They were mostly okay.
Nah,
they
man,
hadn't.
They're screwed up forever.
They're just a little bit spaced out. But in the other cabin, things weren't as well. The remaining Murphys, Lavina, who was almost blind from malnutrition, and her 8-year-old son, and 2 other children, all near death. Among them was Louis Kesberg, who appeared almost unable to move from a horrible leg injury. Mr. Eddy came to them looking for one of his children, who was supposed to be with them when Kesberg confessed to cannibalizing his child. Mr. Eddy swore to kill Kesberg if he saw him again. Even more chilling, James Reed and McCutcheon found the mutilated body of Milt Elliott, one of the teamsters near the Murphy cabin. They were told by Mr. Breen that he had heard Mrs. Murphy saying they were planning on eating him. I think they figured out what happened to Milt.
Oh, gosh. That's just a situation. Like, how does a human find themselves in a situation where other humans, like, yeah, dude, we're going to eat you. You better freaking run.
Take a sketchy cut
Gonna
off.
cook you up nice and good. No.
I like the hind meat. Cut it off as real fatty. We're going to sizzle it up.
Dude. Just imagine you just over here, like, you're just sitting outside the cabin. You know you're probably going to die. Oh, you've seen other people die. You've seen a guy get stabbed. Everything's gone to hell. You just hear...
Gone straight to hell in a
gonna-
Hades in a handbasket.
We just going to cook up little Jimmy later. We got nothing else to eat. So go get the pitchfork. John, you go get the rifle. Make this nice and quick. Get us some supper.
I'm going to boil up some of that good oxhide glue. We're going to make some glue dipping sauce and a little bit of bone brittle to go on the side.
Bone brittle on the side. Eat up little Jimmy.
Would you eat a person? Would you eat me if we got stuck in the mountains together?
I'd like to think no. But I mean, I don't know.
You ever been hungry enough?
Because it's like, I don't know, I guess you could probably imagine before this journey, majority of the party is relatively sane people, and they just find themselves in a very extreme situation, and humans just resort to survival. So,
right.
They're like, well, we gotta eat little Jimmy and Raggy's resticles. You know, we gotta eat some bone brittle. I don't know. That's such a,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, if you had to eat a person, if you had to eat like a human body, what would be like the part of the body you'd want to eat?
I did not think that's what you were going to ask. No idea. Because I don't know. It's one of those things where moral compass is like, if I ever found myself in that situation, I could not kill a person for food. I definitely could not do that. But then it's like all these people probably thought the same thing. If they were asked that question.
That's cool. Thigh. I would take thigh.
No hesitation.
It's just, it's the meatiest.
I don't really like fat on me, though. I can't believe we're talking about this.
That's good. I love that gristle. You ever get a gristly steak? I love it.
I'd go for probably something lean.
Lean?
Yeah.
You need fat to survive in the cold, though.
That's true.
You ever watch Alone? Just turning on my mic a little bit here. Ignore that sound. I can't remember which season, but they're in the Alaskan tundra. One guy, he's super good. Like, he kills a moose and everything, but he's still, like, starving to death from eating the moose just because the meat is so lean. So he has to, like, get fat from something.
Is this the show where it's kind of like they send a bunch of people out to
a bunch of
locations?
Survivalists out.
Like Canada and Alaska and see how long they can make it.
And then the winner, like the last one standing, gets like so much money.
I have seen that show. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
It is a good show.
I know one guy kills a squirrel like 3 days in and then cries because he thought he killed his only friend and then has to leave.
Isolation makes people crazy, dude.
That's, I feel like I would not do well with that.
No. I wouldn't either, dude.
Or maybe I would. Maybe I kind of like being alone. Maybe I would thrive in that sort of aloneness. They would come back and I'd have like, I'd be sitting in like a full mansion. I'd have built a computer out of just rocks and twigs, and I'm playing Siege, and they're walking, oh, hey, what's up?
Just built a bat cave.
Snacking on a bird. No. I couldn't do that, dude. I love the outdoors, but I'm not that, like...
No, same, man.
I'm not that extreme.
No.
I like going on hikes.
Yeah.
Somewhere within, like, an hour's drive.
Yeah.
Close enough I can make it home for dinner. My frozen pizza or...
Throw the old Red Baron in the oven. Bro. Dude, for $4?
Mm-hmm.
Like 1,500 calories of chemicals. So good.
Chemicals never tasted so good.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Dude, this is going to sound, sorry to interrupt, but this is going to sound so gay, but California Kitchen makes some really good cauliflower
California Kitchen
pizza.
is good. I've never had that one, but I've had like their the Sicilian. I've had their pepperoni one as well. They're good.
Okay, what were you saying before I interrupted?
I went on a kicker for a while when I was bulking, where I would just fit half my calories at the end of like 3 or 4 days a week with the frozen pizza.
Yeah,
it was so bad. It's so bad, dude. I'd literally go to Walmart every night after work and get like a Red Baron, California Kitchen, like Holy Stromboli, come
praise
home,
God.
throw it in the oven, get myself 1,800 calories, 140 grams of protein.
Amen.
In one meal.
That is awesome.
That is why we like America.
Yes, we do. We love it here. I used to donate plasma at this place because I was a broke college student.
Yeah. BioLife.
And right next to them is a Little Caesars pizza.
Oh, no.
So if I had the time in between donating plasma and before I had to go to work, I would stop and get an entire pizza from Little Caesars. I'd go home and I'd go like, I'm just going to eat a couple slices. I'm not that hungry. And then I would proceed to eat the entire pizza in one sitting.
Yeah. Because
I got so fat in college. I put on like 20 pounds in like a year or something. It was rough.
Yeah. It was like when you eat a pizza by yourself, you get like halfway done and you start to feel kind of full. Context for normal size adult male, right? Big appetites.
For somebody with self-control, this is...
Yeah. Anyone with like any form of like dietary discipline. But everyone's been there. You eat like half the pizza and your body starts sending you signals like kind of full. But then you're like,
stop.
I'll have 1 or 2 more. And then there's only like 2 or 3 slices left and you're just like profusely sweating like I am right now.
It starts getting harder and harder to breathe.
And then you're like, I can't be a baby. I can't. I gotta eat both.
I don't want to just say 3 pieces. I'm not going to want just 3 pieces later.
Yeah.
I might as well. It's 3 pieces of pizza. Of course, that's like a full meal later. I should just eat it now. I turn into like the Lord Baron.
Dude, if you put a pizza in front of me, I turn into a garbage disposal. It's gone.
Just like that fat, pale Baron from Dune, just sitting there in a seat eating, just eating.
Yeah.
Duke Atreides. This is some very good. I don't even know what we eat.
Yeah.
Dune's cool. That's another cool sci-fi.
We're better.
Yes, we are better. Back to the second rescue party. A couple of rescuers made their way to Alder Creek to check on the Donners. As they approached, they saw one of the Donners teamsters, Jean, carrying what looked like a human leg. When they called out, he threw it into a hole. Once they reached the hole, they found the butchered body of Jacob Donner. Inside one of the tents was Jacob's wife, Elizabeth, was in a state of shock while her children were surviving off of their dad's organs.
Horror movie. Horror movie, bro. That is god awful.
Bro. Imagine, too, he's probably, like, freshly dead.
Yeah.
So they were probably like, okay, we have to eat him. And then probably, maybe even only a day later, the rescuers arrive. And they're like, oh, if we just waited a little longer.
Dude.
That's why Elizabeth wasn't in shock because her husband was dead and her children were eating his body. She was in shock. It's like, oh, they're here. Oh, if we had just waited like a few more minutes.
Avoided it.
This could have, yeah.
I would imagine, too, at this point, anyone that gets cannibalized doesn't have a lot of meat on their bones. They're starving for some.
No, they're eating organs.
Yeah.
Eating like liver and lungs. You ever eaten a heart before?
No.
I have. Tamsin and George were still alive, though George's arm had gotten worse. Tamsin once again refused to leave without her husband, standing by her man. 17 of the pioneers left with the second rescue party, leaving behind 5 at Truckee Lake, everyone in the Murphy cabin, and 5 at Alder Creek, Tamsin, George, and 3 of their children. On their way back down the pass, the rescued party was caught in a blizzard, and once they lifted, the Graves and Breens were too weak to go on. They were left behind with Mrs. Breen trying to care for them before she died. The few survivors ate the dead in order to survive until someone could come back for them. The place they were left was called Starving Camp. I mean, everybody's kind of starving. They think they could have thought of a better name, but everybody's starving and eating each other. During this time, 3 rescuers were left at the camps to help the few survivors when Tamsin Donner asked one of them to take her children to safety. He obliged, but only as far as Truckee Lake, where he left them in the Murphy cabin with Mrs. Murphy and Louis Kesselberg. The third rescue party only took 5 survivors. All were the Donner children, the young Murphy boy, and 16-year-old Jean. Mrs. Murphy and Louis Kesselberg remained in their cabin, and Tamsin went back to her husband. Almost a month later, in April, another group goes up planning on a simple salvage run for what belongings were left. They didn't expect any survivors. George was dead in his tent, and no one else was around to be seen until they came to the Murphy cabin. Louis Kesselberg was alone, surrounded by human remains and bones. A pot of human lungs and livers were sitting nearby. Louis claimed that Mrs. Murphy and the kids had died from starvation. Oh, sorry, not the kids, but, the kids. A couple kids were left. So yeah, kids. Mrs. Murphy and the kids had died from starvation, and Tamsin had come to his cabin one day, freezing after George had died. He tried to warm her by the fire and give the only food he could, but she refused. The only food he could, wink wink.
Like,
Louis Kesselberg made it down to Sutter's Fort with a salvage party, and all remaining members of the Donner Party had made it to California. And then there's some stuff about how he later went on to own a hotel and try a whole bunch of business ventures, but things failed because he was tagged as the cannibal of the Donner Party. Even though he wasn't the only person who ate people, but he possibly killed them to eat them. Anyway, people basically villainized him. Whether he deserved it or not, I don't really know. But funny thing is, when he owned the hotel, one of the reasons it failed is because people spread rumors around that he ate his guests.
dude, I wouldn't go to that hotel either.
Yeah, that's funny. That's a little bit of trivia about him.
And not to mention, he's probably clinically insane.
Oh, probably. There's a journal of his. Well, not a journal, but it's an interview. It's a journal entry, or an interview entry written by a reporter that interviewed him. And I think somewhere in it he says something about one of the people that he ate, that they were the finest tasting person he ate.
I like that one. They're the best.
Yeah, so I think some of the stuff people said about him probably had some foundation to go on. Yeah, everybody lived happily ever after.
I mean, that whole story, dude. If you live through that, that's just a recipe to be crazy. There's no way you can recover from that. I don't know. Yeah. Icky. The whole thing's freaking icky, dude.
Yeah, so don't take shortcut advice from strangers. Maybe don't take giant wagons that slow you down.
Don't eat your friends.
Don't eat your friends. Don't eat your kids. Don't eat other people's kids. Just don't eat anybody.
Please
really.
Don't eat little Jimmy. Well, because it's polarizing. Obviously, the decisions that were made were wrong, but who knows what was going through these people's heads?
You're crazy. You're starving.
Yeah,
what else are you gonna do?
It's polarizing.
Most of the people they ate were already dead, except for possibly in Lewis's sake. But you don't have any way to know except for what he tells you.
Because it's some of them were probably... No, they were all crazy.
Except for Lewis and Salvador. Crazy. Lewis and Salvador were shot.
Yeah, that's...
But hey, they were just Indians. Who cares?
Yeah. There's some of the people, people that killed them, definitely, morally terrible. But then, some of the other situations, people probably just genuinely believe they were doing what they had to do to survive.
I mean, they were.
Yeah.
You gotta eat. Man's gotta eat.
Yeah. Need some bone brittle and a rug.
How soon until you, how long do you have to starve before you're willing to eat a human? This is very similar to the question I asked earlier.
I don't know. I have no idea.
48 hours.
That's pretty soon, man.
Maybe 72.
That's
3
so
days.
soon. I feel like it also depends on the condition.
I like snacks.
Just give me a little toe.
The snack
please.
that smiles back. Children.
Dude, I don't know. That's a good question.
All to get to California of all places.
I know. It probably
That
used to
sucks.
be like a very attractive place.
Mm-hmm. Back
Yeah.
when Mexico owned it. And then we took it from them and just kept all their names. We didn't change anything. California was the Spanish name. We just left it California.
Yeah.
Los Angeles. We took Los Angeles, left it as Los Angeles, and then proceeded to make it the worst city on earth.
Yeah. Dude. It's one of those things where I'm like, I wonder what California was like, 100 years ago, 200 years ago.
The Wild West.
It's probably
Kind of.
really cool. Probably just the land of milk and honey and sunshine and rainbows. And now it's hell.
And go.
It's hell on earth. It's
It's
horrible.
literally.
It's like a third world country. There are some areas that are nice, for sure. There's a lot of very attractive things in California. The West Coast is beautiful. The Sequoia Forest is beautiful. Yosemite's beautiful. A lot of very attractive places in California, but yeah, it's hell.
Yep.
Except for Truckee. Truckee's cool.
Truckee's rocks. Good lake spot. Good place to hang out with the friends.
Yeah.
Good
Tahoe's
place to eat your
beautiful.
friends.
Good place for a little snacky snack. Ooh. No, we're not doing it again.
So yeah, that was the Donner Party. And on that note, yeah, so the Gravemind was actually a precursor who was trying to get